Welcome to another conservative talk. It's very important to understand the genesis of the globalist movement, and we can start this process by understand how the Rockfellers, for example, start their power in the old New York City, a city that was controlled by old families that was from the beginning of the United States, from the pioneers. And the Rockfellers had found a way to achieve richness, power and influence in the beginning in New York City. And it's very interesting because the strategy is the same strategy that the globalists are using nowadays. The strategy is to create like a parallel society. For example, the Rockefellers were not welcome in the old New Yorker rich society. They were like new riches that time. So they were not invited to parties, to theaters, opera house and things like that. They created their own chain of theaters, of parties and places that the rich could live with them and be with them as hosts. So they were very clever. And nowadays the same strategy. These people, these globalists, these billionaires that are disguised in many foundations, like the Rockefeller Foundation, that is very influential in Brazil, has a very important influence in health, for example, and in the influence from against some values that we are deep care about it, trying to change our society, like to put us in a model, in a pattern. And nowadays the strategy is to see themselves, the globalists, as a society, a civilization that is apart from our civilization, the civilization of the ordinary man. And the strategy that time in the old New York was the same. They create their own society apart from the old traditional New Yorker society. And they prevailed there. They won. They won the war that time. So it is a very clever strategy. And it's worked in the past and it is working right now. In plain sight. And the majority of people does not know what is going on. They are just living their lives. And their lives are changing very fast. Very violent, I can say. So, if you want to understand what is the globalist movement, try to understand the genesis of the richest families on earth, including the Rockefellers and others. They are behind many important foundations. They are influence many decisions nowadays, including the World Economic Forum. They are behind the corporations that are behind the World Economic Forum. There is a very important entity nowadays. We can't underestimate these people. They are rich, they are powerful, and they have the expertise, very old one, to change everything the way they want, as they has done in the past in the old New York society. They changed the New York City. They changed the rules, the social engagement there. They changed everything in New York. Just creating a parallel world that at the end swallow everything else, including the old tradition of the New Yorker citizen. Never forget that. It has a source, it has a genesis. May God help us all.